Someone once said that obedience is the first law of the universe. It's the second, and today I'm going to explain why and what number one is. Obedience is when you follow a law that has been laid down. The most important laws are the natural laws of the universe, or the natural laws in this life, on this planet, that determines whether you actually live or die. There are certain laws in place. You've got the laws of gravity, you've got the laws of sleep, of nutrition, of exercise, like the natural things that will actually always be helpful to you living a long life. Another natural law is input equals output. If you put something in, you will get a result on the other side. An action will create a reaction. That's also a law. Another one is karma. The fact that you bring negativity will bring you back negativity. When you sow seeds of positivity and goodness and good things, then good things are going to come back to you. That's a natural law. And another one is also honesty, which we're going to get back to a little bit more in this conversation. But you got to understand that this is a natural law. When you're honest, eventually good things are going to happen. Or, in other words, when you're dishonest, when you're disobedient to that law of honesty, then you're going to have bad things happen to you eventually as a natural result. Obedience is extremely important. It is the second law of the universe, and we all need to recognize that if we actually are obedient to the natural laws of the universe, we will be rewarded. Good things are going to happen, because there are rewards attached to each natural law when you're obedient to it. So the goal in this life is to understand the laws, what they are, how they work, why they are there, and then begin to apply them to our lives so that we become more law-abiding citizens, but not the laws of the country, okay? Although those are important as well. But more importantly are the laws of the universe, what the universe wants us to do. But there is one more important thing in the universe that is more important than obedience, and that is communication. Communication is the first law of the universe. It comes before obedience. And the reason why is because if there is no communication, then we can never learn what the law is. Without someone telling us what the law is, whether it is experience, that is a form of communication. When bad things happen in life, that is feedback that what happened was not good. So there was a disobedience to a certain law that led to this result that can actually be rectified if you start living the natural law. Or it is that someone else told us through their past experience that there is a law there and that we must obey it in order for us to receive certain rewards, or for us to not receive certain punishments. There are no punishments, it's just feedback. It's just the world, life, the universe telling us that this isn't the correct way. This doesn't work, okay? You just gotta understand that. Yes, there's a lot of pain involved for not understanding this law. You gotta understand it at some point, though. And if you actually do some research and speak to people that have past experience on this specific subject, whatever it is, then you can figure it out, and eventually you'll understand that, oh, right, the system is perfect to teach us the laws, whether it is through experience or from the experience of others when they went through the pain, and they can tell us, yeah, you should probably avoid that and you should probably do more of this. Ignorance is the biggest problem of them all. Because here you have the law, and then on the other side you've got ignorance. You don't know the law, and so you just do whatever you want or whatever you feel like. And very often, what you feel like will lead you into trouble. Have you noticed? Okay, when you do the things that you feel like doing at all times and in all places, you are on an exponential decline curve. When you begin to do the things that you're uncomfortable with doing, that you don't feel like doing, and you do them, those easy things, consistently over a long period of time, then you're on an exponential growth curve. The universe will reward you for doing things that are uncomfortable when you are a man. In many ways for women as well, but I'm talking to men specifically now. You want to do things that are uncomfortable, that you don't feel like doing, as long as they follow the natural law of goodness, the natural law of building others, right? Of positivity out. You get positivity back. Working hard, then you're going to eventually become rewarded for it, because you'll learn something about that industry, like working for free, putting output, so that someone feels that they now naturally want to give you value as well. There's so many different ways that you can apply the natural laws to your life, but you just got to understand that ignorance is the biggest problem. You don't understand or know the laws, or you believe that the law is like this, but it's not. And eventually, hopefully, if you search enough for what the truth is, the truth should set you free, right? You've heard that one before. I've had a definition of truth for the last decade. The definition of truth is like this. It is that which works in the long run and in the big scheme of things. That which works in the long run and in the big scheme of things. If something works just temporarily, it's not really true. That means that there's something beyond it, something superior to it, that is more true than that which we had in the past. When you understand this principle, there's a continuous evolution towards finding out what the truth is. When you discover that something that you're doing is simply not working, then you need to keep pushing until you get more and more enlightenment and more truth, and that will eventually lead you to the greatest secrets and mysteries of the world and the universe. There are no mysteries, really. It's really out there in plain sight. You can apply it if you want to, but you got to do some studying. And what is studying? It's simply understanding human nature and understanding people. At the end of the day, that's what all of this is about. It's about people. It's about relationships. It's about connection. How do you create connection amongst people? How do we manage to bring the world to a point where we can all be connected, all be one, all come to a knowledge of what the truth is? And we don't have to go into all of the religious aspect of things, because it's all the same in many ways. This is not about any specific religion. This is just understanding natural law. What is it that works? And if it doesn't work, I'm going to get rid of it and replace it with something that's better and stronger and fitter and that works better than what other stuff that I had in the past. This allows you to rebel against things that you thought and held on to as truth. If something comes along that makes more sense for the long term and in the big scheme of things. Communication is how we get past this ignorance. Not only you learning through life from your past experiences, from the mistakes, from all the troubles and pain and issues that you've got, you finally begin to learn about the laws if you study the laws of why this went wrong, right? But also from learning from other people, and that's the fastest method, learning from other people and their mistakes. Do you know how many old people are on this planet that has gone through life itself the same way that you did, and you're not taking the time to learn from your elders? You're not taking the time to study the greats with biographies, getting coaches, mentors, and being around successful people? Are you doing that? Because if you're not trying to get to the truth fast enough. You have to be around people who understand the truth in order for you to understand the truth. If they're happy, okay, if they've got joy, bliss, and happiness, and their lives work to some extent in that sense, then they must have something that you don't have if you're depressed. Does that make sense? If someone has a lot of riches without scamming people and lying and, being good people, honest people, and you're poor, then they must be living some laws and learn from some experience of life that they've had that you haven't. So you're disobeying certain laws that they've obeyed for a long period of time, and there's probably something to learn from them. This is the situation with everything. If you're unhealthy and overweight and obese, guess what? You're violating certain laws that fit people are not violating. This is how it works, guys. And if you can understand this principle of continuously evolve towards following the truth, you will accept feedback from life and not look at yourself as a victim. You'll be fired up about making mistakes because you are learning more about how life works. And then you'll try to avoid the traps that slow down your learning. Because that happens too. Some people say, well, then you should just live according to however you want, because you'll learn much more if you're just a free soul and do all sorts of crap. But that's not really the case, because you will end up taking detours from actual, figuring out better things, right? There are some laws that are just completely and utterly logical, some things that you just should not do. And so if you do those things just for your learning's sake, like, what are you doing? You could have been focused and learned the greater things that could lead you to where you want to go faster. Anyways, I'm going to stop going on a rant about this. I could speak about this for hours. If you enjoyed this, make sure you subscribe and like, and share down in the comments what your thoughts are. I'd love to hear them. I'll see you in the next one.